They'll bed in both, but not very often.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends on where you're at. Now, if I went down to Iowa and you get into open areas, I think they bed in corn a hell of a lot more. You know, I think if you get into an area where it's all mature woods and it's heavy pressure, they'll bed in corn a lot more. I think when they bed in beans, it's when they're green and they're feeding on, and it's more night day bedding kind of thing. I don't think they're there for long periods, but they can, and they have. And sometimes you get beans that are like waist high. Then it's just like then it can be like a CRP field or something, and they
Yeah.
will bed if they get the right positioning or whatever. But the trouble with corn, and we've discussed this many times, is that if you actually look at mature buck beds, now I'm not talking about deer beds, I'm not talking about deer, separate your pheasants and rabbits again. Mature bucks, whenever you look at their beds, there's a wow factor.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean about a wow factor is you look at it and you say, how the heck could I get close to this? If you're an intelligent person and you're thinking about wind and thermals and vision, you're thinking, man, this thing has it made. They're either
Mm-hmm.
bedded in a sound barrier where you can't get close to them in a tangle because you'd make too much noise, no matter what you are, or they're bedded in a spot where there's cover behind them to escape and vision in front of them. They always have a good escape pattern or route. And escape is okay in corn, but as far as knowing any which way an animal comes at them, I mean, a coyote, a wolf, even a very stealthy hunter could come up a corn row up from them, right into the wind, straight to them if they're bedded in a corn row.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, I don't see many mature bucks bed directly in corn. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that argue that, but there's a couple factors here. I do see them quite a bit bedding tree lines through corn, fence lines through corn, bed in, under a solo tree out in a cornfield, a little island on a cornfield, a little ditch going through a cornfield, an open spot that's grassy in a cornfield where it didn't get planted correctly, a pile of rocks out in a cornfield.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes even the edge of a cornfield, if the wind is right, or in a corner where they can see out, use the cover, the corn as the thick cover, be able to have the vision into the woods and smell behind them. But they have to have the smell, sight, hearing advantage. They have to have a couple of advantages there where you can't get to them and kill them. And they have to have good escape. They got the escape, but in actual corn rows, without some sort of thermal advantage, or they're not covered all the bases. And I just don't see mature bucks making mistakes like that. That's not to say it doesn't happen,
Yeah.
but again, it's one of those rare things. And there's certain situations that create that more than others, like in certain hunting scenarios, like I said earlier, like a cornfield out in open terrain in Iowa or Nebraska or something where there's real small woodlots that get a lot of pressure. I mean, of course, you're going to go in the cornfield.
Yep. 100%. Mm-hmm. I always think I think corn creates a better scenario for them on the property than
It
it
does
being
for
beans
sure.
or something. So like a lot of times on some of the farms that I can hunt, the years that there's corn in, those big bucks bed in those areas you were describing a second ago, and the fence lines and all that.
Absolutely.
But when it's beans, they're not there all that often because there are a lot more vulnerable. If you want to watch another video, click right here. But don't forget to subscribe before you leave.